Black as fuck is first,
Yes, the infamous hashtag Black as fuck.
or Black AF PG version.
AF. Okay.
And look, you already putting working for me in the YouTube cut. I go in and mute stuff. Censor. Wow.
Oh my goodness. So if you don't know, Black AF PG version is a Netflix series that was developed by Kenya Barris. It's a mockumentary style that pretty much focuses on Kenya Barris and his life and his family as a industry professional and trying to balance not only being this industry professional as a creator or producer, but also having a family and a blended family at that. I have my own personal opinions about the show prior to it being released.
About the show or about him?
The show. Let's stick with the show for right now. Okay. Let's stick with the show. I just have my little mix of emotions about it because it's, naturally I'm thinking like when I see the trailers for it, I'm thinking this is pretty much just Blackish, but an unfiltered version of Blackish, and I was one of many people who's kind of like, I ain't watching it. Ain't no point watching it if it's similar to Blackish. It's very similar. The only difference is it's like the shooting style of it is different, I'd say when I first, was looking at it and like trailers, I was like, oh, the only difference is it's like mockumentary style. So if those who don't know, mockumentary is kind of like a style of shooting something like TV shows, mainly TV shows. A lot of people do that, or movies, in the sense of like it's formatted in documentary where you got the interviews, you got cameras placed in places where the subject doesn't really know, but it's mockumentary, so it's definitely scripted.
It's like The Office.
Yeah, it's like The Office. If you have not seen Office, that is a perfect example of what a mockumentary is a little bit.
Or that, wait, hold on. Have you seen that Joaquin Phoenix movie where he's like pretending to be a rapper?
I have not seen that. I have not seen that.
You know what I'm talking about? Bro, he went around for like a year, like pretending he was like putting on a rap album in real life, right?
Joaquin Phoenix?
But didn't tell anybody it was part of a movie.
Interesting.
So he's like in the studio with Diddy. He's on like with David Letterman. And the whole time he's acting. But like in real life, he's being Joaquin Phoenix. And it came out as a movie. Crazy.
Well, I got to check it out then. But that is what a mockumentary style of film or TV is. And so that's initial perception. What was your initial perception, Shaka, when you heard about Black AF?
Well, because you know what my first. All right, whatever. All right, so full disclosure, we have like this like Instagram group, which is like me, Honesty, and Zach, basically the people in the company. I sent them a trailer. I was like, oh, this looks kind of crazy. But this is before the show came out. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I don't watch Blackish, Grownish, Mixedish. Like, I barely know Kenya Barris is, which is crazy, I know. But like, so I had no opinions coming in or nothing. I just seen the show. I seen the whips. I seen the bottles. The editing style. I was like, what is this? And it was like about like the guy that made Blackish. I was like, yo, this looks kind of hot. I ain't gonna lie to you. And then, this is trash. This is
whoa.
That's the immediate response. I'm like, all right, I'll shut up. Whatever.
Immediate response definitely was that. It was just, my immediate response was, this looks very similar to what we already have out.
Yes.
Let's stop skipping over stuff. The controversy in itself is that people are frustrated that hashtag Black AF is too close in similarities to Blackish. It's like, a lot of people are frustrated that Kenya Barris, they believe Kenya Barris has a history of producing things that are not inclusive, as he would love to say he does with his work. Many people believe that a lot of his work kind of like lacks certain melanated people, darker skin complected people, or different type of storylines. So this is like the second show we're seeing where it's focused on him and his family, the same type of like people being represented in his television shows. So I think people are definitely more critical of that. And I'll say myself, like I was one of those people who's kind of like, dang, Kenya Barris, producer, creator, one of these people who could definitely make some stuff happen is once again producing another show that is literally Blackish, but they're richer, it's unfiltered, and is literally just shot in a different way. So I guess it is, in a retrospect, different, but it's just like the story is so very much similar in regards to how it's formatted. You know, one thing about Blackish is that it loves to inform the audience, and how they
Like I
do it is kind
saw,
of like in a narration
I saw in an
format.
article, it's talking about some, I don't want to say the word. It was a big word. I had to look it up. Not gonna lie, but they had like a real technical definition of it, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
man, he does do these long monologues in
Mm-hmm.
every episode, like the Juneteenth one, right? Because I know he
Mm-hmm.
did that in Blackish as well.
Yes,
I
yes,
guess he
yes,
like got a lot of praise for that, whatever.
yes.
But then he
But
did
it's
it
just,
again in Juneteenth, and it's just so like obvious that yo, he's really trying to lecture us on this.
yes, yes. And that's also another thing. It's just like, I don't think it's not so much the lecturing itself, it's just when we know you're lecturing us, and you're lecturing us in the same style that you just were lecturing us in a different platform. And I think that's honestly just my feeling towards the show. Is just, it's too similar to what is already out there
Mm-hmm.
on Blackish. And I just feel like, I have a sense of who he is and who his family is. And so I feel like with somebody who has such a big name right now in the industry and is looked towards for producing diverse, television shows, I expected a little bit more when I heard about potential partnership with Netflix to produce something. And it's just, I got this. Another majorly wrong with the show. Like, it is a show. It's a show that's focused on a Black family. Dope. We didn't really have too many of those. It's focused on a wealthy Black family. Those are very rare. We're always seen in some retrospect of struggling. But it's just like, I'm expecting a different form of storytelling from him.
I feel you. I got a couple responses to that. I think
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of that critique in terms of just like, oh, it's the same old thing, blah blah blah. I think with the way it was executed and the idea, I feel you have to separate the two. I think the idea in itself, like, yeah, it's similar to the like his other works in terms of like it's the same characters, literally, with just different actors playing them and
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. But the difference is, I think this show, from an idea perspective, is meant to almost make fun of like the other ones and to make fun of like his persona as a whole. So like on its
Interesting.
surface, on its face, it's not a bad idea. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is with the execution. I think that I think two things. I think they had to make a decision. Like, is this going to be one of those things where like we're going to give like honest takes on like your work, like critiques,
Mm-hmm.
and honest critiques on like because he's put out there how he treats his family. Like we've seen multiple characters portray him, so we see
Mm-hmm.
like how he like what I mean. So we see
Mm-hmm.
his character flaws, blah blah blah, all that. I think with a show like this, you have an opportunity to really make it real, like hard, like hardcore, like really like get into the issues of why you treat your oldest son that way, like which is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Like Papa in this one,
Mm-hmm.
I forget what his
Mm-hmm.
name is in the other one, but like it never goes deep into that. It's always kind of a joke. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you could have done that, and then B, I think that I think a lot of the issue is the fact that he's playing himself in it and like his name's
Yes.
attached. If his name wasn't attached, would you feel the same way about this show?
Oh, for sure. For sure. For sure. I would still feel the same way. I think it's just like the fact that he's playing himself is so small in comparison to the bigger issue. And the bigger issue is the fact that we're seeing the same type of storytelling and the same type of representation for the specific like story. And we understand the story is about his family. Cool, we understand. But I think people are expecting different stories for him from him. Don't get me wrong, he's had a career where he's told different stories in the past, but right now, we have such more opportunities right now to tell different stories right now, and there's a need, a demand for it, and we're not getting it from him. And the fact that he's playing, like, he's just playing himself. That's what I'm saying. Like, the difference between Blackish and here is just he's playing himself. It's a mockumentary. I mean, it's not too much. I mean, Rashida Jones is even in Blackish. She plays the sister of Tracy Ellis Ross. She plays the sister of his wife. And Anthony Anderson plays himself, so plays Kenya Bear. So, everything is very too closely related to one another.
I get that. But my thing is like, I get it's closely related, right? But I don't think that that's what deserves like the outcry of like
Mm-hmm.
backlash. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the backlash happened because the bigger issue, which I know we definitely get this. The whole like it's not for Black people. Like I think if someone tells the same stories over and over and over again, that's Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Like people do this because they know it's financially successful. So I'm not gonna fault him for going back to the well over and over again if people are gonna pay for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I might not watch that, but obviously it's for somebody. So like
it's definitely for somebody, and
for somebody is where everybody gets sticky.
Completely understand the fact that the show is from somebody, and it's naturally probably not going to be for me. I can't fully relate. I can relate to the sense of that I'm Black. You know, we have those situations. We have microaggressions or racism or passiveness from people who are not us. We've experienced those all, but you can't tell me there's not a Black person in life who doesn't experience some level of microaggression, racism, or passiveness from people who are not Black or from people who are Black. You know, but I'm just saying, like, I guess it's just kind of like, it's not that he's telling the same, it's Hollywood of telling the same story. It's really like he's telling the same story.
Like the exact same story. It's not like any kind of sugarcoat. Like it's literally the same.
It's still the same story. Like we just talked about how the fact that let's be 100. The only difference, there's differences. Don't get me wrong. Much respect to Kenya Barris. There's differences. So, for example, let's line them up. In Blackish, he narrates. Anthony Anderson, who's supposed to be Kenya Barris, of course. Anthony Anderson narrates. He gives us this whole speech on the experiences of like maybe race, politics, and social class, specifically with the Black community. He narrates. In this one, his daughter narrates. So her character is pretty much similar to Zoe. So it's kind of like having Zoe's character narrate the experiences and classism in the family. This one is also about his family. Blackish is about his family.
Okay. It's the same show, but is it a bad show? Is the question.
Is it a bad show? I wouldn't say it's a bad show.
Like if Grownish never existed, Blackish, none of that never existed. This is on its own. I feel like it checks a lot of boxes. It's not. We already know it's for a different demographic. It's for people older than us, obviously. Like the jokes are definitely aged like 35 to 50 range, right? 40 to 50 range. But it's still funny, bro. You cannot say there's not funny moments.
There are funny moments. I was just watching one of the latest episodes, like the last episode, and I chuckled a bit. I'm not gonna lie. There are moments in the show, do not get me wrong, where it's completely, like, it's fully relatable and hilarious.
Okay.
Pertaining to the jokes. But you're saying it exists in a world. Like, imagine if it exists in a world without Grownish. But Grownish does exist.
Hold on. Let's finish my point. Hold up. All right. So we had that. In terms of how it's shot, right? In mockumentary style, in terms of mockumentaries go, it's done well. Then the editing is amazing. Like the editing is dope. It's like super like snappy. They got a lot of like frames where it's like split screen and like the movement of the frames matches what the character is saying. I know like in episode 5, she was talking about like basically how we cancel Black, entertainers because we have so few of them. And like when they showed Bill Cosby and R. Kelly, as she was going down the line, like their like frames actually like minimized and disappeared. Like it's just a lot of little things like that where it's like I think the viewer is going to be in tune, especially with like the Instagram generation. We have all these snappy edits, Will Smith's vlogs, where it's all these crazy whatever. It fits seamlessly in that. I think that's super dope. Check that box. Execution, production, actually very good. Like it's very clean.
I'm not dismissing that. I guess I'm talking in the sense of the storytelling.
Okay.
Like the story itself.
The story itself, yes, there are issues. But I think I saw someone say it's not the worst show. So I think we need to at least like establish that baseline of like it's not a bad show. But what makes it bad is A, we've seen it before. B, it's from him, which we've seen it from him before. And then C, it's a show about Black people or Blackness, but not for Black people, which is inherently kind of a problem.
Oh, wait, are you saying that? Or are you saying this is what people think?
I'll say this. I was definitely on the train of like, there are a lot of Black people who like his shows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I saw somewhere they were like, the problem is his shows feel the need to explain Black culture
Blackness.
If
Yes.
it's a black show, why do you need to explain that?
Explain blackness.
Like, this should already be like a ground level or a basis of knowledge that you can work off of. And then
Yes.
it's a film or it's a show. Show it. We don't
Yeah.
need you monologuing and talking to us. It's not a book. Just show us. Just show
Yeah.
us. Let the
Yeah.
audience be smart and figure it out for themselves.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
the biggest
And
issue.
I think that's also a small piece of my frustration with the show. Is just like, I feel like I was told even early on, even with Blackish and Black AF, is that the show itself is for me, and it's a show that is by this black creator, featuring this black cast, and it's for me as a black individual. But when I watch it, I feel like, I shouldn't have to. You don't have to explain to me blackness. You don't have to necessarily explain to me these issues or this experience, because I already experienced them on the daily. I've already been taught this. You can do it in a way to where you're explaining to people who don't know, but you're making it relatable to people who already are experiencing it. Like, they can work simultaneously with one another. They can flow at the same time. And
Yeah.
that's one thing about movies, is that the whole idea is like not necessarily for you to say it, is for you to show it. Movies and TVs, the whole idea is like for you to show me what I'm feeling. That's what we're taught all the time with like script writing. Don't say it. Don't tell me his emotions. Don't tell me this. Just show me. Just show me it, because that's when it becomes too blocky, too heavy, and it creates a sense of like me being disengaged. And I don't want to be disengaged, because this is, like I said, a black creator. This is a black cast. This is one of the few eras where we have the opportunity to have such a wide range of diverse shows. So I'm getting turned off when you're trying to say that it's a black show, but I am a black person, and I can't connect with it in the way that I'm hoping to.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's just like, is the purpose of the show for that, or is it the purpose of the show to entertain
And I think that's the thing
audiences?
with Black AF is, I think if you were to ask him like on Truth Serum, I think this show was his answer to the criticism of, I'm explaining things to black people, and in this one I'm going to critique my other shows in the way I do this. The problem is, anytime it gets close to critiquing like the issues with his shows, it's always a joke right around the corner. Or there's always some kind of way to like divert. So it's like, all right, we're not gonna go too deep. Even in like the episode with the painting, what was that, episode 4 or something? The black painting.
I think so. I think so.
And so
It
like
was
the
the
whole
it was the
time,
it was the Juneteenth episode.
was it okay? So the whole time he's trying to explain like what the painting means, blah 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 blah. He doesn't know. And then the guy comes in. All right, and granted, I got this from, was it is this site called Vulture? That's what
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Vulture.
I got it from an article, so this is not an original thought. All right, whatever. So, but basically, he's trying to explain it, and finally, the guy, I want to say his name, Knowledge Bennett. I want to give him a shout out because he has some dope art.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in and actually explains what the piece is about how there's different shades of black, and when you put them together, it makes this one. Yeah, all that stuff. Whatever. Watch this.
All these colors come together, and they are blackness. That's what blackness is. We're all together. We're differing in the sense outside here, but when we come together, it's blackness. It is beautiful. Pretty much, that's what he said.
Now, I'm not a genius. I'm not some seasoned film vet, but I think if it were me, granted, I'm a little guy in Kansas City, whatever. But if it were me, I would have used that moment with the guy explaining to Rashida Jones. It's like a kind of a quiet moment amongst all these people. So it's kind of like a surreal moment where it's like we feel like we're alone in this moment, even though everybody's around, which is kind of dope in itself. Hang in that moment, let that shot linger a little bit, and cut to a montage of all the people or some black people, or you know what I mean, like show black people, different types of black people, like not drive that point home. But what did they do? In walks Kenya Barris. Yeah, that's what I said. It's a
Yeah.
joke, and then we go on to the next thing. It's like we don't even get to stick in that moment.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest thing. I think every time he like decides he's gonna talk something that's kind of deep in terms of like what black issues or whatever, or he's talking about his own critique of his own work or anything like that, it's always a joke that takes us out of the moment, and so it's always surface level. It's my biggest issue with the show.
Yeah, I feel like he could definitely stick with us being like, because I'm not gonna lie, when that happens, like for that specific episode, the Juneteenth episode, and I'm sorry, all spoilers, but for that specific episode, when the painter himself came onto the scene and explained the artwork, that was like a really surreal and powerful
He
moment.
slowed down. It was kind of like, damn, I forgot I'm watching a
Yes,
movie. I feel like I'm in
it
in
was
the show.
grounded. It felt real. It felt natural. And I felt like immediately, like beforehand, because I'm the audience. Like I'm looking at the painting, and I'm like, bro, this is just black painting
Yeah, with some
with
specs.
with some specs on it. Then here you see it's a black painter himself. He painted it, and he's actually done a lot of work. Like he's had the whole Obama cowboy. Like he's a great artist. Orange is the New Black. Like that whole gallery. Like he's a great artist. And then he comes on the scene. He explains what it means to him and what it means to black people, and our essence, our beauty, our grace, and all that. You're just like, whoa, bro, this is surreal. And then boom, it hits us with a comedy. And that's similar to what it is in Blackish too, because that's how they end off their episodes, is just that comedy, but that bit at the end. Whereas even after the commercial, there's that last comedy bit and this end of the episode. And I feel like that could have been like you said, it's a moment where it could have been just stopped right there, and then it would have been something for the audience to connect to and be done. Get the point. They had their laughs already in the episode, but now they're like sitting with they're taking something away from the episode for sure.